Are they funny, animals? Can they be funny?
Absolutely, yes. The most funniest thing an animal said to me, I'm a VIH. What is a VIH? And he said, I'm a very important horse.
Hello world, my name is Ilse and from AnaAkun I call you all welcome to this new beautiful meeting. I always have beautiful souls, you guys know that. Today we are with Dagmar Klingenboeck. Hello Dagmar, how are you?
Hello, Ilse. Thank you so much for having me.
Are you okay? Do you feel okay? It's a bit late there where you are, but...
I'm feeling very well. I'm very excited to be here.
Fantastic. Dagmar, she's giving the animals a voice. That is really fantastic. She helps the people understanding that animals are communicating. Are there loads of animals around you? Yes, at home, no?
I have lots. I have 7 horses, a cat, a dog, 3 birds and 3 chickens.
And 3 chickens. Oh, that's really cute. How did you start with your business? How was your journey?
That was actually quite a funny story. I always was very close to animals, probably even closer to animals than to people when I was young as well. And I always thought, you know, wouldn't it be great if we can really connect with them and talk to them and ask them questions? So that led me to study animal communication in Switzerland. And at the time I was working for a horse trainer in Australia. And when I came back to Australia, I told him what I had done. And he said to me, talking to animals, if you believe in it, you stupid. And I said, okay, fair enough. That's all right. If you don't want to believe it, that's good. And then one day we had this horse that didn't perform well. There was no physical signs that there was any pain or any problems. And the horse should have done well and she didn't. And he said to me, well, go and talk to the horse and tell me what's wrong. So I connected with this beautiful girl and she told me that her hip felt like it was dislocated, and her right hip it was. So I said to him, you know, we better take her to the chiropractor because there's a problem with her hip. Okay. And again, you couldn't really see that there was any pain there. So he was still very skeptic. So we took her to the chiropractor. We didn't say anything. And the chiropractor went over her, checked her. And my boss at the time, he said, so tell me what's wrong with her. And he said, well, she's out in her offside hip. So we need to fix that hip. Okay. And of course, my boss, he was blown away. He couldn't believe it. And the chiropractor mentioned a few other little things and I had it all written down on a piece of paper and everything was exactly the same. So from then on, we started to make it a bit like a thing. Every time we go back to the chiropractor with horses, I would connect with them, write it on a piece of paper. We go to the chiropractor and I was always 100% spot on. And to that extent that the chiropractor asked me to communicate with all his horses. And we had the most amazing findings that not even vets knew that there were issues with his horses. And for a chiropractor to, you know, push me in that way, that was really great because he said, you know, you really need to do that as a business. And he talked to all his clients and he said to all his clients that they really need to go and have a reading with me because there's often misunderstandings and behavioral issues that we just don't know about. You know, why are they doing certain things? And if we can just ask them, you know, why do you bark at people, or why don't you want to go in the float, anything, if we can ask them, then it's so easy because often they're little things. You know, a dog might just want to have a different water bowl because the water tastes funny. And if we can just solve those issues, then we just have a much deeper connection with our animals because they realize that we listen. And if they ask us to do something, we will do it. So that's really to have this better communication and connection with your animals.
Wow, that's really nice. And sometimes it's just little things, you see, like you say,
Absolutely.
Changing the food or changing whatever, you know, but it makes a totally difference for the animal, no?
A big difference, yes.
Did you feel that it was your mission?
Absolutely, yes. And my mission in life really is to give animals a voice because they just often can't express themselves. It's a lot better now, but when I started my business, no one had ever heard about it. And there's still a lot of skeptics out there that don't think that animals are on the same level as us, you know, that they are spiritual like us and that they can talk. You know, it's a different language. It's obviously not our language, but they do speak this language, so we can connect with them through energy. And sometimes people are not quite sure whether it really works, but if you can connect with them and they tell you things that no one else knows but the owners, I mean, that's just proof enough. I have a lot of times results that people then go and take the animals to a chiropractor, for example, and he has the same findings. And that just tells you that there has been a connection there, because it's impossible to know those things.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what, wow. Yeah. But it's really incredible, because you go and then sometimes they look to one side and then the problem is on the other side, no, from the animal.
Yes, yeah.
This you had something.
I was talking to a horse and the owner didn't tell me, but I connected to the horse and I said, well, this horse has a pain on the right, in the right back leg. And she said, that's quite weird, because her horse cannot put any weight on the left leg. Okay. And I said, just let me connect with this horse again to make sure that I'm in the right spot. And I talked to the horse again, and it was again a pain in the right back leg, but it was fairly up high where those two legs are connected. And what I didn't know was that she had chiropractor, physios, vets, and no one could find the problem. So I said to her, go to the physio and get him to work on those muscles that are connecting the two legs together, because it seems like if the horse wants to put the left foot down, it puts pressure on that muscle on the right leg, right up high. Okay. So she got a physio in, and within 3 weeks, the horse was back to normal. And she was at the stage where she thought she'd have to retire the horse, because they just couldn't find out what the problem was. Not even the vets. And, you know, they looked at everything, but they were all looking at the wrong leg.
Yeah, they all look to the wrong leg. Look, it's incredible. Okay, do you have to meet the animals to have a reading?
No, I don't.
Because virtual, yeah.
Yeah, because the connection is made telepathically, and I've got clients all over the world, in America, in Europe, and in Australia as well, of course. But it doesn't matter where you are, because it is a telepathic connection. You can connect with them from anywhere. So all I need is a photo to identify the animal, not to actually see something on the photo, just to identify the animal and say, this is the animal I want to talk to.
Okay, and then you receive the information from the animal? Yes. Do you do then a meditation, or you do?
No, not really. It's really just like I'm talking to you. I think in the beginning when I started, I had to, you know, get much more into it and concentrate, where now it's just like anyone having a conversation, because I do it all the time. It's just become second nature, really.
Exactly. Okay. Do you do other things also than just readings?
Yes, I do also energy healing. I do Reiki. I do something what is called Equine Assisted Bodywork, which is quite interesting, where I will just go to the horse and just work on the horse wherever they want me to work on. And I do different things, you know, sometimes it's more like a massage, and sometimes it's stretching. It really depends on the animal, and they really just tell me what they want me to do, where they want me to work on. And the results are just amazing. You can just see that you have got the right areas to work on.
Yeah, and how do they show them? How do the animal show you that they're happy, that they feel comfortable?
They show you just with their reaction. I can walk up to a horse and straight away I'll put my hand on and I find the soreness spots from the animals. That's just because they guide me to that area. And I had a beautiful experience with my own horse once, that he asked me to treat his knee because he was really sore in his knee. So I did a few things to his knee, and he was eating at the time. And he's a horse, when he eats, he eats. He doesn't care about anything else. And after I had treated his knee, he actually looked around to me and gave me a hug and stopped eating and just wrapped his head around me. And it was just beautiful, because it's something that he normally doesn't do. So he was really saying thank you to me for treating his knee. That was beautiful.
Wow, that's really fantastic. Do you have some, can you tell us a bit of experiences, really fantastic, extraordinary experiences that you have with animals, so that you would never forget?
Yes, one story was, and it was actually with my own horse as well. My horse, was in a yard. There was a road in between, and my other horse was on the other side of the road, and they've been like that for a few months, and there was no problem. And all of a sudden my horse started running the fence. He started up and down, and he started to sweat, and he was an absolute idiot. And everyone just said to me that he wants to go and get to my mare, and they all said, you need to educate your horse, he's being an idiot, and you need to punish him. And I said to him, I said, you know, what is your problem? Why are you doing that? And he just said to me, water. So I went and had a look at his water, and the water looked clear and it was clean, and he had water. I couldn't really see a problem. So I thought, I'll take him for a ride. And he started drinking water in different places, where out of a puddle on the ground, and horses don't normally do that. So I thought I better go and check the water again. Even though he does have water, there has to be a problem. So I went back to check his water, and they had sprayed the paddocks with poison around my horse's yard. And
Wow.
when I went back to the trough to check, there was actually a dead plant under the water trough. So they had actually put poison in my horse's water. And the only way he could tell me was by misbehaving. And still a lot of people read that body language wrong, because they thought he's just being naughty. Exactly. And that wasn't the case at all. And I'm sure that if I hadn't talked to him, that he would have probably had colic and die, because he just, yeah, they can't survive without drinking water, of course. So
wow.
That was really an amazing story.
And what did the people say then? The people that say, oh, he's just being an idiot, you see? What did they say afterwards?
You know, people that don't want to believe it, they will always find an excuse.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. They wouldn't admit anyway that they say, oh, well.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's really so sweet. And another experience that you had?
I mean, that story with the horse that had a sore leg, that was absolutely amazing. That was just, you know, you get blown away yourself, that you find things that not even the vets can find. And I had another friend's horse.
So many doctors also. They went to so many vets, chiropractors, and all these. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yeah. And a client's horse was telling me that he's got a headache, and he had issues with his jaw and his teeth. And she said, you know, I always take my horse to the dentist, and that's always no problem, because with a horse you have to do their teeth once a year. And she said, you know, I always get his teeth done, so surely there shouldn't be a problem, until she changed dentists, and she got a new dentist. And this dentist said, oh my God, I'm really surprised that this horse hasn't bucked you off, because his teeth are so bad.
Wow.
You know, he said, it's just crazy. And she believed her old dentist that he was doing everything right. And this horse just had so much pain in his teeth that when she decided to get another dentist in, that they found the problem.
Incredible.
And you know, without
the horse also, yeah? You know,
without talking to him, she would have just thought, oh, well, you know,
yeah,
everything is fine. But it wasn't, because often horses just put up, or animals in general, they just put up with all the things we put onto them, you know, pain and a lot of issues they have. They just tolerate it for us. So it's important to give them a voice so we can make life better for them.
Oh, I think this is beautiful. Listen, Dagmar, that's your specialty, no? Is the horses. Do you talk also to other animals?
Yes, I do have a lot of clients that are horse people, but I talk to any kind of animals, lots of cats and dogs. I've had very interesting animals. I had a lady want me to communicate with a butterfly that she found. I've goats, chickens, fish, and of course animals that have passed away as well.
When they are passed away already, or before they're going to pass away?
Both, yeah. So you can, obviously when they are alive, you can connect with them, but also when they have passed away, you can still connect with them. And that's always helpful, because often when animals die, there's a lot of guilt and you know, sadness around. So if we can connect with them after, and they pass on important messages to their owners, they can feel better about it, because often people are not sure if they've done the right thing, if they should have done things differently. And if we can just assure them that the animals are totally fine with what the owners did, then that often takes that guilt away. And because they don't want us to be upset and sad about their passing, it's their journey that continues. And of course, for us, it's quite sad, because we stay behind and we miss them so much. But it's important that we remember the good times that we had with them.
What is the animal communication exactly? What is it exactly? How do you communicate?
It's a telepathic communication, so it's from mind to mind. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people still don't quite understand how that works. And I always explain it's an exchange for energy, and it's an energy for everyone to pick up. And people often say, but my dog comes from, you know, from France. Does he only speak French, or how does that work? But it is really, the message gets translated from the energy into a language that you understand. So if your main language is Spanish, then the message will be translated into the language you understand. And because I speak different languages, so when I speak, when I'm in Australia, I speak English all the time, then the messages will come in English, a bit like dreaming. But
Yeah.
if you go to a different country and you speak that language the whole time, and you start to think in that language and to dream in that language, then also the messages will come in that language. It's just really what I use and what you're most familiar with.
Okay.
It's just, it is something that everyone can do. So a lot of people say it's a gift that you have,
Yeah.
but it's like the intuition we have, you know. Sometimes you might have had those experiences as well, that you're thinking of someone and you haven't seen them for 2 years, and on that day they call you and you think, how is it possible? But that's because you have been thinking of each other and you know, contacting each other telepathically. And that's exactly, so that's that kind of and even with your animals as well. And people that have dogs often experience that they might be sitting somewhere and they don't move at all, but they think, I might take my dog for a walk. And before they move, before they do anything, the dog is already jumped up and waiting for them to go.
Because they heard it.
No. Yeah. But that's because you mentally already told them.
Exactly. They heard it already. So he wants to go for a walk. Oh, look, this is my moment.
Absolutely.
How do you know that it works? How do you know that you get the right information?
As I said before, often they tell me things that only the owners know and no one else. Because, you know, sometimes I have people that say to me, oh, you just looked that up on Facebook. But they tell you really specific things. I had animals that have passed away. They say, you know, I really like the yellow flowers that you put on my grave. And there's no way I could have looked that up anywhere. Of course, also physios, chiropractors, they confirm the findings that I have. And also when you put things into place the animals ask for, you see a change in the animals. And that is obviously a sign as well that you're doing the right thing. So that are all signs that have been connected with the animals, definitely.
Definitely. No, you can't find all these things in Facebook, I don't guess.
Yes. I tell you a quick funny story. I see a chiropractor, he's also a horse chiropractor, and he knows about my work. And he said to me, you know what, 9 times out of 10, you're right. And I said, and you know what, that one time you just don't know about it. And I was talking to a horse that was telling me about the pain in the right shoulder. And the owner said, I don't know, there's nothing there. I wouldn't have a clue. And she, for some reason, had to put that horse to sleep. And they did an autopsy on the horse to find out what was going on. And when they did that, the right shoulder, the horse had mentioned to me, was full of cancer. And there was no signs on the outside, but it was a problem. There was definitely a problem there, but no one could have known. But the horse had the pain there and was telling me about it. So sometimes they tell you things that might not make sense straight away. And I often say, you know, just write it down. It will make sense later. Even my chiropractor one day, his horse was telling me about some pain in the foot. And the chiropractor said, no, there's nothing there. And then a month later, he went back through the notes and the horse ended up with a hoof abscess. And the whole abscess hadn't come out, so it was still in the foot. So you couldn't see it. There was no lameness, but the horse could already feel that there was something coming through. Okay. And it just took a few days to come out.
Wow, that's really incredible. I think it's amazing that you can get all these information out. You work together with a chiropractor, no?
Yes, yeah.
Video with a chiropractor himself, yeah? So he absolutely can confirm all these all the things, what you're saying, what you're doing, what the animals talk to you, because of course he's also a professional and he knows exactly what.
If you want to, you can go to my website, and a letter of reference is on my in
Oh,
my
we will
testimonial
definitely,
page from
we'll
him,
leave
what
it
he said
under,
about my work.
yeah. Afterwards, under the videos, we will leave all your contacts that people can contact you if they want. Dagmar, how can animal communication help the people with their animals?
Well, when you communicate with animals, you can ask them questions. You can also just give them a voice, hear what they have to say, but you can also pass on messages. And the big thing is really that people have issues with their animals. They don't know why animals do certain things, health issues, you know, how are you feeling? What can we do to make you feel better? What do you like? What you don't like? So behavioral issues, competition, you know, when there's issues competing, what you can do to just help them in their performance, anything like that is what you can ask them. And, you know, let's say you had your dog barks at little dogs, just at little dogs, you know, why do they do that?
Yeah.
What can we do to help them? Anxiety, anything like that. And if we can find out why they do certain things, then we also can work on the solution of it, because, you know, it might be that they are anxious or they are unhappy or they had a bad experience. And sometimes it helps when we can talk about this, that they then feel better, they understand where we're coming from, they understand the situation better. Sometimes it's also just a misunderstanding. And if we can explain that, then most of the time the problem is just solved. So often it's just very easy to find the solutions to the problems.
Yes, yes, of course. If the animal can tell you what it is, and it's the bad interpretations. Why does these little dogs bark a lot of time? Now that you were just talking about it,
Well,
it's
just
because they're so
recently.
small. Is it in competition with the bigger dogs and all the big worlds?
Yes, yes. Often the little dogs, they have what we call little dog syndrome.
Okay.
And often big dogs, they will also get annoyed with little dogs because of that. So sometimes big dogs, they don't like the little ones because they're barking all the time and they find that quite annoying. And
Yeah.
the little dogs, they just want to be heard. So they make themselves bigger than they actually are. And, you know, sometimes we can explain to them that's not necessary. It doesn't have to do with barking, but I had a very beautiful story with this lady. She had 3 dogs, and the dog that was the leader of the 3 dogs passed away. And the dog that was second in the pack, he was very, very upset. And everyone was just thinking he's very upset because the dog had passed away. But when we actually connected with him and we asked him what was going on, he was really upset because he now felt that he had to step up and be the leader. And it was just something that he didn't want to do. He didn't want to be the leader. He just wanted to be a follower. That was his role. So we made it clear to him that he doesn't have to be the leader. The owner will be the leader and he can still be the follower. And he was just happy again after that because that pressure had been taken from him.
Okay.
So it didn't really have anything to do with the passing. Of course, the passing of the other dog affected him as well. But once we understood what was going on and we could just tell him that we don't expect him to be the leader, he was perfectly fine. He was really relieved.
Wow. That is incredible, really. That's, I mean, and even the story from your horse with the water, it's really, it's extraordinary. You would have lost your horse. You would have lost.
I would have lost
that.
my horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I tell you another funny story. I was talking to a horse. I was feeding the 2 horses and they had different feeds, but the boss would always get his food and would eat his food because he needed to get more than the other horse. And one day I fed them and he wasn't happy with his food. He walked off and he started to eat hers, but obviously that's not the idea because she gets something different. So I grabbed him and I brought him back, and straight away he went back to her food. And, you know, a lot of people would say, you know, what is going on? And you just don't understand. And I said to him, what is your problem? And he said to me, it stinks. So when I went to have a look at his food, I couldn't really see that there was a problem with his food, but there was some horse poo right next to the feed bin. And I thought, well, clearly that can't be the problem. So I moved the feed bin and I grabbed him again and I brought him back to his food. and straight away he was eating his food, not a problem anymore.
Incredible.
So, you know, it is really sometimes as simple as that, but we can be really upset as humans because we think, oh my God, my animal is sick because it's not eating, or my animal is sick because it's not drinking. But it could be something as simple as that. And we only know that, a behaviorist can't tell you. We only know that if we actually communicate with them.
When you communicate. And for this, we have you and other people who talk and communicate with the animals. Yeah, it's really fantastic. But they can learn.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, because everyone can do it. But, you know, these days, especially with the computers and in school, and we just learn whatever is logic is right. And we really don't listen to our intuition so much. So it's really about helping people to just open up all these channels again to get the messages, and also to trust themselves that they can do it. And we do a lot of exercises and we practice, and it really just helps them to open up again to receive the messages from the animals.
Of course, yeah, you can. Yeah, it's what you say, because the intuition, everybody have the intuition. It's just putting you there, trust yourself that you can do it. And with this animal communication, you can tell the animals what to do and control them in their lives, not just help them, also control them.
We can't control them as such. It's a bit like children, you know, you can say to a child, don't do that. But they are their own beings, you know, if they still want to do it, they're still going to do it. So animals are the same. I have a lot of people, especially in Australia, they say, can you tell my dog not to chase the snake? And yes, of course, I can tell the dog to not chase the snake. But they're like children. If you have a child and there's a ball and you throw the ball on the road, they know very well not to go and chase the ball. But in the moment, they forget about it. And animals are the same. So if a dog sees a snake, they get so excited to there's something they can chase, and they'll just run after it, even though they know they shouldn't. And, you know, people say to me, can you tell my racehorse to run faster? You know, sometimes
do they?
But they're not. And if there's better horses in the race, it doesn't mean that they can outrun them. So it's not to control the horses or the animals in general, but if we actually hear what they have to say and we put things into place they are asking, then we definitely get better results.
Okay. But I mean, they are like, in fact, I see it with my cats at home. They're like children, you know, they chase each other. They start, there's one moment they have they crazy hour. They start to run everywhere, going up, going down. And I mean, you know, I mean, one of them is about 15 years, so it's not a young cat, you know, but they're really like children. But then also they have their ego, you know, like humans, no? And they're not always so nice.
They have their own personalities, absolutely.
Yeah? They have their personalities, their characters. They have their preferences, I guess, no? I like this one, I don't like this one, and I don't want to be next to that person, next to that. It's really interesting. It's really funny. How does a reading work? A reading?
A reading, as I said, all I need is a photo to identify the animal, and a few things like name, age, how old they are. And I only need the age, because if an animal tells me about all these pains, if I know it's a 20-year-old cat, you think it's, you know, for her age, that's okay. But obviously, if it's an animal that's 3 years old and has all these pains, then you know that there is a serious problem there, and we need to address that. And of course, questions that people want to ask their animals. And then I will connect with the animals, and then I give them a call to give them feedback. It's sometimes easier to call than sending an email, because sometimes I need to explain things. Just yesterday, I was talking to a dog, and the dog said to me, he wants to get behind the plants. And that doesn't make any sense to me at all. So I said to her, you know, that's what your dog told me. Does that make any sense? And she just laughed, because she has a little backyard and it's fenced off with plants. And behind the backyard is a lot of grass where they normally go and play. So he wants to go behind the plants because he can play. And, you know, that didn't make sense. So it's easier to just connect with them over the phone, and I can just give them feedback. And these days, calling people over the internet is so easy that I can just call them anywhere in the world.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, that's really gorgeous. And like this, you can help loads of people, do you? You have loads of
Yeah,
people who have
absolutely.
questions, who have like they have lots of doubt and maybe sadness, you know, just to connect.
Yes.
They don't understand what's happening and all these things. And it's what you say. It's just little things. Sometimes it's just little things, changing food, changing whatever, and then it changes the whole theater, the whole show changes. Yeah, like they
Yes.
always say. Yeah. Um, do you have to ask your animal questions?
Yes, I think it is quite important because animals, you know, they live, you know, for example, a horse lives in a paddock 23 hours a day. So whatever is in this paddock is important to them. It is not important to a horse why they misbehaved in the last week's dressage competition. So if we don't ask questions, they might just talk about their environment and their life at home. So if we do want to know specific things, we have to ask them. And I always say a good thing definitely is to ask about their health. You know, how are they feeling? What do they need? What can we do to help them? What they enjoy doing, as I said before, about competition or any problems that you have with your animals, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I prepared loads of questions for you. So we have to go through the questions. What sort of questions are really important to ask to your animal, let's say, like basics?
Yeah, so as I said about their health, definitely, because
Yeah.
we want to know, are they in pain? Because sometimes they just don't show it. There might be pain somewhere, but they just can't tell us as such, or they can't tell their owners. So I think that's probably one of the most important ones about their environment, anxiety, aggression, stress, anything like that. Asking where it comes from, you know, why are you aggressive? Why you do this? Why you do that? So that's really important to get to the bottom of it. And once they tell us, you know, yesterday I talked to a cat that always pees in the house. And obviously the owner wants to know, why does the cat do that? And what can we do to help him so he doesn't do it anymore? So that's very important.
Very important. What are people sometimes worried about what their animals are going to tell them?
They do, you know, often people think, oh, you know, I'm not sure if I want to hear what my animal says. They might not like me. But I always say, you know, we always do the best we can in the interest of the animal. And sometimes we might do things not exactly how we should be doing them, but the animals are very forgiving. So they know that we're doing the best we can with the knowledge we have. So you don't have to worry what your animal is going to say about you.
Well, I think if you really treat your animal good, it's what you say, you know, then I think the animal always love their owners, I think, as long as they're good.
Absolutely. Yes, yeah. And even
Yeah.
with, you know, when they get older, we might have to put our animal to sleep, and maybe later we find out that we could have done things differently, or we could have tried something else. But the
Mhm.
animals know we've done the best we can at the time. So that's really important. And I've never had an animal say, you know, you've done the wrong thing, and they're angry. They don't have these feelings, you know, they're very understanding, and they just come from love.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you this. Are these, because I always think that unconditional love, is that true?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
What?
as I said, they come with suggestions. They often even talk about their owners, you know, about the owner's personal life. Just recently, an animal said to me, this person, she likes her job. And, you know, and they often say to me that they are proud of their owners, you know, what they have achieved, and not just with the animal, but in their personal life as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What can we learn about the animals? Because we always think we don't have, but I think we can learn loads. They're like big masters for us, are they? Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. Even if
Teachers.
we're stuck in situations, you know, we can ask them for advice. Horses often tell their persons, their humans, you know, what they can do different when they're riding them. And one of the most beautiful stories that I had was I was connecting to a pony, and this pony said to me to tell the child to hold up her head up high, and she's worth more than that. And when I gave the mother feedback, I said to her, to me, it sounds a bit like she's getting bullied at school. And the mom said, no way, I would know about that. And when she sat her children down to tell them what the ponies had said, that the daughter started to cry, and she was really upset because it was true. and the mother had no idea. And if the pony hadn't brought it up, who knows what would have happened in school. You know, it really needed to be addressed. So that's why the pony had brought this out, because the daughter was coming home after school every day and she would go to the pony and cry her eyes out. So the pony knew all about it.
Ah, so the pony knew. That's really funny. The pony knew, and then she told, wow, that's really incredible.
And that was so important that the mother knew, because then she could take action.
Very, very important. But let's say, like, you know, just the way how it came to the mother is incredible. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Through the animal, all through the animal communication. This is so gorgeous. People like you, that's fantastic. Well, I think it's fantastic. I'm a very passionate person anyway for all these connections from above anyway. But I love the nature and I really love the animals. So yeah, I really appreciate a lot what you're doing. Let me see. Are they funny? Animals? Can they be funny?
Absolutely, yes. Even how they see themselves. The most funniest thing an animal said to me, it was a horse again, sorry for all the horse stories. And this horse said to me, I'm a VIH. And I said, what is a VIH? And he said, I'm a very important horse.
A very important horse.
So, you know, they do have a lot of humor. They recently a horse said to me, I should be called Mr. Bean because I'm as funny as Mr. Bean.
Oh yeah? A horse said that to you?
Yes, yeah. Because we were looking for a new name for the horse, because the horse was called Shorty.
Yeah.
And the horse, every time, that was the third time I connected to this horse. And every time I connected to this horse, he said to me, I'm not short. So we said, okay, let's find a new name. And I said to him, you know, what do you want to be called? And he said, I should be called Mr. Bean because I'm very funny.
That's so funny. But how does the horse know Mr. Bean? How do they know Mr. Bean?
Well, see, that's nice.
They look at television next to their owners.
they bring funny things up. I was talking to an animal, and this animal wanted to compare something and make us understand how it feels. And I can't remember, it was a cat or a dog. And the animal said, imagine it's like a child with autism. You know, how would that feel for that child? Mm-hmm. And when I said that to the person, she said, oh my God, I'm working with disabled children. So the animal brought it up in a way that the owner would definitely understand, because she knows how that would feel for a child with autism. Okay. So, you know, it's amazing how they bring things up to just really show to us how it would be and to make it, you know, easy, understandable for us.
Okay. That's really, are there horses who work with autism and children who are disabled?
Yes, yeah.
Mentally?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
We have here in Australia, we have something called Riding for Disabled, mm-hmm. where children that are disabled, I think not just children, adults as well, yes. They don't ride on their own, they're just being led around. But it is just amazing, you know, we see it even with taking animals into hospitals, and how people improve if they can be around animals, how their faces light up, and how they just you know, even angry people, you bring animals in and how they just change and soften, because the animals just bring that out of people. It's
the energy who gives them through, no?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's really interesting also, yeah. Can you have a conversation, the three of you, let's say?
Yes,
you, another person, and then the horse.
Yes, and you know, sometimes I have clients that have 2 or 3 horses. Sorry, I'm always talking horses. They have 2 or 3 animals.
Your specialty. It's normal.
So sometimes there's 2 or 3 animals that I need to connect with, and there's always one animal that wants to go first and that pushes in, and there's always another animal that says, yeah, no worries, I can wait, that's fine. So it's a bit like people as well, you know. There's some people that are a bit pushier, they want to go first, and there's other people that are happy to wait. And that's as well when you communicate with, you know, when there's several animals you want to communicate with, but you can have a communication with not just with one animal, but with, you know, different beings at the same time.
That's really interesting. Fantastic. So you can, you said before that you can talk with animals who are passed away, no?
Yes.
Passed away. Is it for you exactly the same? Do you need a photo also from the animals who are passed away? And until what time after that they passed away, you can talk with them?
That doesn't matter, because you just connect it to their soul basically, and you connect to them how they were when they were with you. You know, you want to know about their life. You can ask them also about where they are now and how they are feeling now. A lot of people want to know if their animals are coming back to them, because they miss them so much. And something important is just to know that they're never going to come back exactly the same. So they might come back in a different form, but still they're not going to be the same. And it's just important to know that you know, we can't expect an animal to be the same. I'm actually at the moment writing an ebook about this subject, about animals and dying, to just help people understand it a bit better, you know, what to expect and you know, what to think, and to help them with this in this hard time, because there's always so many questions open. So you can ask them anything about their life with you, their passing, and also where they are now.
Wow, that's really incredible. Can you do in a reading? Can you can they give you different animals in one reading, or is it one reading for each animal?
One reading is normally for each animal, so you can just, because it always takes a bit of time. When I connect with an animal, I just say to them, you know, how are you going? Is there anything you want to tell me, before I go into the questions? So it's not just bang asking the questions. I have a general conversation with them as well, but I do offer group readings as well for more than just one animal, for a better price to get a. I do offer group readings. Where they get a discount if they have, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 animals that they want to connect with at the same time.
The most common things that the animals want to talk about, what is it they want to talk about?
Obviously personal issues they have, about their health often. And also one big thing is that they want our time. You know, people always think, what do they want from us? And the main thing is that they want us to be present, you know, that we're not on the mobile phone when we're taking our dog for a walk, but that we're actually present with them.
Be with them.
Yes. So that's always a big thing as well. And also not feeling guilty about things. I've also written about an ebook, which is free, that you can download on my website.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about your ebook. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yes, so it's the 10 most common things animals say to an animal communicator. So that just gives you a bit of an idea what they often talk about. Obviously, every animal is different, so you have to speak to every animal individually to find out how they feel and what's going on for them. But it just gives you a bit of an indication of what could be coming up in a reading.
Okay. Really fantastic. Let me see if we still have some questions, because we're going already 1 hour there. Let me see. So about the ebook, where can they find? We're going to put it underneath the video anyway, the ebook, no? They can download it for free. So
the ebook you can download on my website. I've also got a meditation that helps you to connect with your animal. And I'm just about to upload another free meditation where you can connect with animals that have passed away. That's also a beautiful meditation that just helps you to get back into touch with them, into contact, and, you know, share some memories from the past. Beautiful meditation. So that's also something that you can find on my website.
Wow, fantastic. What can the listeners do to connect with their animals? The meditation, what you just said, the meditations that you leave on the website. Something else that I can do? Be with them.
I often offer free things. I just recently had an animal retreat where I gave a few tips, and we were doing some exercises for people to connect with their animals.
Oh wow!
And that is also something. Obviously, also I'm doing one of my courses where they can learn how they can connect with animals themselves. I also have a mentoring program where people, which is probably a bit more of a one-on-one program if people want to have a bit more attention and they want to have some guidance how they can communicate and connect with animals. So that's also possible.
So everybody can learn through your courses to communicate with the animals, no?
That's great. Everyone can do it, yes.
Everybody can do it, so that's fantastic. Do you have a special message to just finish this beautiful conversation, this beautiful interview? Do you have a special message for the people?
Well, I think, you know, if you want to connect with your animals, if you want your animals to connect with you, there's a few important things, and that's definitely to treat them with respect, you know, speak to them properly like you would want to be treated. You know, often we just go and push our animals around, but we haven't asked for their permission. You know, we've never said, excuse me, could you please? You know, rather than just pushing them around. Also, always use a positive message, rather saying what you want them to do rather than what you don't want them to do. And that just all helps you to connect with your animals. Your animals feel like, oh, she really respects me, and that just brings your relationship already to a different level. Things like meditating definitely helps you as well to connect with your animals, and it just, again, brings the relationship to a deeper level, and you will just see everything change, and you're happy, your animal happy. And that's really my main mission in life, is to just give the animals a voice so they can all be happy. And when our animals are happy, we are happy as well.
Everybody's happy. Yeah, that's absolutely, because it's always an interaction. It's the same like you interact with people. That's the way you have to interact with your animals, of course. And look, I want to leave this for a next interview, but I mean, about the energy from the dogs, energies from the cats. A lot of times they talk about this, that let's say that cats have these possibilities just to transmute all your energies, the bad energies who are in your home, and then they leave it off. But we're gonna leave it, you know that. And then that some dogs, they get sick because of the sickness from their owners, and then the owners, they get. Yeah. But we're gonna leave this. Is that true? Yeah, exactly. It's
yes, yeah.
All these things.
Yeah. Our animals, they often mirror us, and you know, just recently I was talking to an animal, and you know, and we realized that, you know, we always think it's our animals that have to change, but if we realize that it's actually us that have to change, and then the situation will change as well. That's quite an important message as well, that, you know, often we like, even with people, we would like to blame the others, but if we realize that we change, then it will just solve itself. And it's the same with the animals as well.
Yeah, there's a special saying, maybe it's in English also, but in Spanish, and it always says, be the change that you want to see.
Yes,
I all start with somebody, with yourself, let's say, with yourself, and then automatically the things around you are going to change now.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, Dagmar, it was such a pleasure to have you on my program. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. I think this is information, very interesting information for the listeners, because I mean, there's loads of people who have pets, loads of people around the whole world. Yeah. So, and it's really, thank you so much for your work. Thank you so much for your mission. I think there must be so much more people who do the same thing like you. And we will live in a better world, I think, you know, people start to understand the animals and all this thing. So anyway, I thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you for your valuable information and your time. And we go on with the next interview the next time about very interesting things, about the energies in the house, about cats and about dogs. Is that okay?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for today. That was really great. And I'm looking forward to having another one with you, another interview.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. The listeners, I see you in the next time, in the next interview. And I wish you all loads of light in this beautiful life. Bye.
Bye.